Okay, Pete, I've got some great updates about Galahad and the Grail. PR is going really well. I've got Malcolm and Steven booked all the way up till the release.
Fantastic.
And all those review copies that we sent out, people love them. We're getting some really good feedback.
Okay, well, it sounds like you got everything handled, so, you need me for anything, just...
Actually, while I've got you here, I've followed up with a media outlet that really wants to talk to you.
To me.
Yes, I think it would be a great opportunity, and Malcolm and Steven are so busy, so I thought maybe you would do it.
I guess anything I can do to help, I'm in.
Great! What could go wrong?
Hey, what's up, book lovers? I'm Butch Kid from Stay Lit Media, and you're tuned in to Burn Before Reading, the only show dedicated to the hottest new book releases and even hotter chicken wings. I'm joined today by Pete Peterson from the Rabbit Room Press. Pete, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Carly, am I in the right place?
Yeah, you're doing great, Pete.
It's great to be here.
Well, let's start right at the top.
I need to warn you that, heat has no effect on me.
Well, that's great. I'm looking forward to just a straight talk.
I'm not catching any heat at the moment. It's just a tasty chicken wing.
The Rabbit Room is set to release Galahad and the Grail this month. It's a poetic, epic retelling of the story of King Arthur and Galahad's quest for the Holy Grail. And it's done by renowned poet Malcolm Guite, illustrated by award-winning artist Stephen Crotts. So the story of King Arthur, the Grail, this is a story that's been told time and time again for generations. In your opinion, Pete, what makes a story worth telling?
It's really hard to articulate, but I think there's some quality of story that lends it a timeless kind of flavor, and we find those things in King Arthur, Star Wars, but I think Malcolm is a real student of that kind of timeless storytelling, this thing that harkens back to a previous age, or by virtue of its symbols and its structures and its kind of archetypes, it's really suited toward burying a kind of figurative truth in a way that is always really interesting.
Right.
Yeah, so I think the more that you can build that kind of quality into the story, the more you're telling something that's capital G great, which of course is what Tolkien and Lewis were doing. And I think Malcolm is sitting firmly in that tradition. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Did I answer your question? I don't even remember what it was.
No, that's
because
fantastic.
I'm thinking about chicken.
Well, hey, if you're thinking about chicken, let's not delay. Should we jump into wing number 2?
Yeah. Oh man, it definitely smells hotter.
A little fruitier.
That chicken right there did a good job.
We've seen a trend, not just within Hollywood, but especially within Hollywood, when it comes to studios sort of leaning into this idea of retelling a story. In 2024 alone, something like 80% of the top 20 movies of the years were either sequels or prequels or remakes or all these sort of things. And clearly the film industry has tapped into this kind of idea that as people, we want to hear stories get retold in some capacity. And so, in your opinion, what do we stand to gain from hearing a story be retold, and why do some of these retellings end up being transcendent and meaningful, and some just end up feeling like cynical cash grabs?
That's a good question, because there's there's a whole spectrum, right? There's the retelling thing that Tolkien did, where he's repackaging Arthur and Germanic myth and all these other stories and telling something that is instantly, unique and timeless, or maybe not instantly, but it feels that way to us now. But then there's the other thing, which is what happens in Hollywood, where it's really? We're rebooting Spider-Man again? So I don't know. I don't know what the exact answer to it is, but I think time has a lot to do with it. I think things need to cook for a while. And a person's desire to retell a story, I think, arises from their interaction with that story and others over the course of a lifetime, right? So then when it comes out, it's not just hey, let's do that one again. It's a natural expression that's coming out of somebody. And that's certainly how Malcolm is. His mother told him these stories orally when he was a child. And so they're baked into him as a person. And so there's some sense in which he just lives, walks, and talks Arthurian legend in poetry, because that's what he's made out of. He knows these stories so well, and he's kind of intuited them over the course of a lifetime, that when he starts doing it in his own way, he is bringing new things to it. He's seeing things in the current culture that can be addressed and answered and put in conversation with these stories. Yeah, that's the way you should do it.
Man, well, should we get to number 3 over
Yeah,
here?
man. Because I haven't felt anything yet.
Well,
I want to feel pain.
that might change with this one. This one is
It bends us.
And if these do end up starting to get too hot, Pete, we have some. I heard a favorite of yours is it butter praline ice cream?
Well, I have a complicated history with pralines and cream. When I was in the Marine Corps, I spent a month working in the mess hall. We had one of these ice cream mixers for soft serve, right? And I think you've probably seen one of these before. It's like a big, like stainless steel cube kind of thing, and on the face of it, you can see the round barrel that's mixing the ice cream, right?
Yeah.
And then below it is a soft serve thing where you get it out. So every day there's chocolate, there's vanilla, there's the 2 barrels that are mixing, and you can get one or the other and mix them or whatever. Well, we came in one day and noticed that the ice cream had pralines and cream in it. And I'm like, whoa, hey, something different. This is great, People are enjoying the pralines and cream. And about halfway through the lunch cycle, the thing got jammed. And the chief mess guy, he was like, hey, y'all take this thing out back and get it cleaned up and get it back on the floor, figure out what's wrong with it. Okay, so we roll it out to the back dock. And what I see is this guy, he does the latches on the back of the machine and kind of cracks it. And then he screams and runs. And this thing clatters to the floor. And literally thousands of roaches swarm out of it across the dock and just disappear into the distance. And we're just kind of like, what? And so we realized that what's happened is somebody has poured the vanilla mix into the drum.
No.
And they put the lid on. And I think it probably sat there all night or something as all these roaches that were living in the machine got into the drum and then are being mixed. So what we thought was pralines was actually just roach bits. And people had been eating this. It was horrifying. And we went and got the chief mess officer or whatever his name is. I'm like, hey man, the thing was full of roaches. And he's like, well, clean it up and get it back out there. And so we were just kind of squirt it off with a hose and then pour some new stuff in there and scoot it back out and let it go. And that is why I'm always a little afraid of pralines. By the way, still no heat going on.
None yet. Well, we'll get there. We have a little
I got a
time.
little tingle, but nothing that's remotely stressful.
We've got a little time left. But you mentioned you retell stories for the stage. You've done The Battle of Franklin. You've done The Hiding Place. You've done, most recently, you did the stage adaptation of Frankenstein to coincide with the 200th anniversary of Mary Shelley's classic novel.
Yep.
For you as a writer, when you're going into these stories, like you kind of just hinted at a bit, how do you as a writer then figure out which parts of these stories are foundational and immovable, and where can I find these parts to insert a bit of the writing?
Because you're right, sometimes people will monkey with the part of the story that needed not to be monkeyed with.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know that there's a hard answer. I think every writer has to answer that for themselves. So when I went into writing, the Christmas Carol or Frankenstein, whatever it is, I read the original and I need to identify what is the thing here that's moving me as a human. And then how do I zero in on that and kind of blow on those embers? And I think those are different for different people, which is why we have, different adaptations, and that's as it should be. So I don't know that I would hesitate to say, oh, that person did it wrong. Yeah. I can say, oh, that didn't quite work. But I think probably most of the time when an adaptation happens, that writer is trying to zero in on something that's really unique to them, and I value that.
Yeah.
Whether or not the final expression comes together, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what it is. I have to find the thing about it that moves me, and then that's the thing that I want to zero in on.
Well, I've been hearing that you're not getting as much heat from this as you'd like. Maybe we should move on a little bit to sauce number 4. What do you think?
The Desolation of Smaug. I always grew up with smog.
There's no right answer, is
but
there?
I kind of like Smaug.
I like hearing Smaug better,
Yeah.
but my heart wants smog.
Well, let's desolate my mouth.
Well, hey, here we go.
I feel barely desolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hints of desolation. LaCroix hint of desolate.
Taste a hint of desolation there.
We wanted to make sure you were able to talk through most of the interview.
I feel a little bit like the desolation is growing within me at the moment.
Yeah. Galahad and the Grail, it's coming out this month. It's an interesting story to be releasing right now because I think the story of King Arthur, like we've said, it's simultaneously It's a story that belongs in so many ways to the world. It's ingrained in literature, it's ingrained in pop culture, it's recognizable in so many different ways and shapes and forms. But it is also a story of deep Christian tradition and values in so many ways. And I think some people who are reading Malcolm's telling of it are going to be surprised to learn how Christian it is.
It's funny, like, for instance, when we were in England making this documentary about the thing, like, we were literally staying in a house with a literal druid.
Wow.
His title was the Keeper of the Holy Thorn of Glastonbury. The Holy Thorn of Glastonbury is traditionally understood to be arboreal descendant of Joseph of Arimathea's staff. So when the traditional story is that Joseph of Arimathea leaves the Holy Land, comes to England, plants his staff in the ground, and it buds and flowers, and that's the first thorn tree of England. And from that, all others are descended. And so this druid cares deeply about these trees, which means he's admitting in some ways to the Christian story. And in the context of all that, because of this Arthurian legend, you have this priest and this druid having a courteous conversation in which they're exploring, the mysteries of Christ. It's fascinating. Can I just point out really quickly? Defeated. 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 What do you got?
We've got
the last battle.
The last battle. This is the last hurdle you'll have to overcome during this interview. And on the show, it's a little tradition to just take this bottle, open it up a little bit, and just give it a little battle. Battle-ready sauce.
This was going to happen.
Sort of a tradition here on the show here.
Despite everything I've just said, I don't know that I hold to tradition. I don't know that it has any value.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we should actually engage in this.
A tradition of one, maybe.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. That was a really brave pour there. You actually get a lot of flavor from that one. So we're going to go through a few questions sort of at a rapid clip and fix this in post.
Make it quick.
Yeah. So you can always save one. Meatloaf the food or Meatloaf the band?
The band.
The band.
I love Meatloaf with all my heart. And the day he died, part of me died. And another part is dying now.
Oh, man. Pete, do you have a go-to karaoke song?
No.
No go-to karaoke song?
I've never done karaoke that I can remember.
Do you have any tattoos?
Appropriately. This
Oh, wow.
is the Holy Grail,
Wow.
which I would love to explain to you, but I cannot.
Oh.
What?
Just a reminder, we do have a Holy Grail of milk right here, ice, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Again, those are real pralines. I love that. Pete, if there was a pull string doll they made of you, what would it say when they pulled the string?
Say that again.
So if they made a pull string doll of Pete Peterson, when you pull the string and it talks, what would it say when you pull the string?
It would say, "Behold, the Nazad."
I want one already. Any advice for any aspiring kids who want to be writers when they grow up who are watching the show?
Yeah. What?
So for the kids watching at home who want to be writers, do you have just any advice for them about, how to be a writer?
Yeah. If you want to be a writer, avoid whatever the heck this is. And write about it. Don't eat it.
Well, gosh, Pete, we want to thank you so much for being on the show today. That's another episode of Burn Before Reading
And by
in
the
the
way,
books.
Defeated.
Galahad and the Grail, Merlin's Isle, and Arthuriad, Volume 1 by Malcolm Guite releases on April 20th of 2026 via Rabbit Room Press. Pete, can you let our viewers know where can they find this book, place a pre-order, find you online, all that good stuff?
You can find Galahad and the Grail at store.rabbitroom.com or wherever great books are sold.
Woo. Wow. Well, hey, come back next time for more Burn Before Reading. We've got Jennifer Trafton on for her new book. It's going to be a blast.